Welcome to Healing Horizons, the space where resilience meets wisdom. I'm your host, Saima, and today we are joined by our amazing guest, Beverly Meyer, a pioneer in clinical nutrition and the voice behind Primal Diet, Modern Health. For over 4 decades, she's turned personal health battles into powerful insights, helping countless people reclaim their energy, balance, and hope. Her message is simple yet profound. Stop guessing, start listening. Your body already knows the way. Beverly, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're warmly welcome, and I'm really looking forward to make this a meaningful experience for you. So, Beverly, after decades in natural health, what first motivated you to become your own health advocate?
I think a lot of us in functional healthcare uh, ended up in practice because of our own health issues. That's certainly true for me because of my own health issues, and that the traditional doctors and so on that I'd seen were not helping. And I had this was back in the 70s. So I was young, just, in college. And then a friend said, "Why don't you go talk to this guy? And he's kind of different and he does something unusual with nutrition and so on." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give that a try." And to my surprise, that that wasn't some effective support. And so I had that experience of, oh, then it's not just all about the doctors and those people, that there are other people who actually can maybe look and see in a different way and be effective.
That's really remarkable. So, was there a specific moment when you realized that conventional answers weren't enough for you?
um at the moment when I realized conventional would not work for me, is that what you
Yes,
asked?
yes, yes.
Well, that's not the total picture, because I believe that we need all the support that we can get. So I'm a big believer in, well, you mentioned it, the name of my podcast, Primal Diet, Modern Health. And when I introduce people on my show, which I've been doing 12 years, it's yes, we need to eat the way our bodies evolved. That's a primal diet. The way we eat is the way we evolved to eat. And modern health, the best of modern health care. So I have traditional doctors, I have holistic doctors. I, of course, work with myself, energy medicine and homeopathy and chiropractors and neurologists and, whatever. That's kind of where I try to coach people, is that we need to do what works and not overlook that traditional doctors have solutions as well as non-traditional practitioners have solutions as well.
Mm-hmm. That's surely going to be beneficial for all our listeners out there, and it's really powerful. Now, you always start clients with diet and sleep. So, can you share that why are these two foundations so transformative, no matter the condition?
Well, diet and sleep. So when I take on a new client, I'm very clear with them that I don't like to just do what I call quick tips, which is pretty much what everybody else does, is quick tips. And whereas for me, I want people's lives to change in a more fundamental way. And the way I communicate about that is that it's my job to help change your chemistry. So that's what I'm after, is changing people's chemistry. And if when you change chemistry in a beneficial way, then the body is more able to do what it knows it needs to do. It's just hasn't been able to do what it wants to do. And so the biggest way to impact our overall chemistry is what we eat and drink and smell and put on our skin. So all those external inputs, and getting proper good sleep. that the body can't do anything if it's sleep deprived and not getting full nutrition and being able to absorb and digest those foods. So sleep upgrade and a diet upgrade are pretty much where I start with all my clients. And then when we retake history and symptoms after a couple of weeks, or even sometimes just 2 weeks, sometimes people report, "Oh my goodness, my headaches have completely stopped," or "Oh, whoa, all right, I don't have to get up twice at night again. That's really interesting," or "Oh, the swelling in my hands disappeared." And we haven't done any supplements or tips or therapies or whatever. It's just I ask people to do hard work with their food. And if they really are having issues sleeping, then there's a supplement or two that I will recommend so that they can start to sleep.
That's such an insightful perspective. And it really highlights that how foundational lifestyle factors like diet and sleep are to overall health, and how addressing them first can create a ripple effect across every aspect of wellness. And I would say that your approach emphasizes prevention and balance, like showing that sometimes the simplest changes can be the most transformative. Mhm. Now, so do you find people underestimate the impact of the simple changes?
Well, um, if I've done my job and have empowered them very, very clearly and specifically what I want them to do, between this first appointment where we have a 7-day food and sleep diary and all kinds of other forms and their history and their labs. And so, I have a sense of who this person is to start. And then we'll talk again in usually 10 days with another 7-day food and sleep diary. And then we talk, okay, where did you get stuck? What worked? What was easy? What was difficult? What did you run up against when you had to go out to the party? What were your solutions about how to take good food or eat good food that way? And so then that's when I ask people, so how are you doing? What's working and what's not working? And that's when people often report, wow, my gas is completely gone. I have no idea. Or I've lost 3 pounds this week and I'm eating like a lot of food. So I'm very much into hearty, abundant meals. No fasting and starving.
hmm That perspective really grounds wellness back in, daily choices, not supplements, but in true rhythms, according to me. Now, living with multiple chronic conditions, you have become a real, example of perseverance. So, how has your personal experience shaped the way you guide the others?
Oh, my personal experience.
Yes.
Well, everything that my website, my blog, are huge, and the podcast is huge, and I work with people all over the world. So, but it all started and continues to come out of what is going on with me, what I'm observing in my body, and what just changed, and what's something new that I understand. And then of course I learn from clients too sometimes, because I have to do a lot of research for people because they have sometimes symptoms or disorders that I've never worked with before. But like just recently, sort of this year, I've been working with memory and aging, memory, forgetfulness, Alzheimer's, dementia, moving into that domain, and doing a couple of weeks of research, and just amazed what I'm finding that is helping me, but also then that I'm passing on to clients. So my drivers is my driving. What drives me is what's going on in my own body, my own health, my own comfort, my own sleep, my own um, immune dysfunction and pain, whatever. So that's how I learn and research and pass on information.
That's really remarkable. Now, like, how do you, maintain optimism and curiosity through long-term healing challenges?
And that's a really good question. And I think, first of all, I'm very, I guess I'd say very upfront when I start working with people that I'm going to ask them to work. And I think it's important that people understand that if you want to change your chemistry, if you want to change your life in whatever aspect of that it is, you're going to have to work for it. And that health is not a passive um, process. It's a very active process. And that's why I like to start with the emphasis on the big guns, how people eat and drink, because it most people get very quickly, they get feedback from themselves. Oh, you mean I can actually help change things by something I can control? And that's the whole point, is that people have, we don't have good experiences that we're in charge of our health and we're in charge of our bodies. We just tend to do what this teacher or that coach or this doctor or your sister or YouTube, or we pick up tips uh and sometimes try it for a day or whatever, or maybe you've tried that for 3 years but it's not working. Well, yes, so it's time to move on. There's a lot more out there, and so that's have courage and have hope that that keep researching only on professional websites, and you can't get distracted with random information out there. You have to hold firm to that. And I lead some of my clients to sites where I can do research, or of course mine website. But that's another big piece, is, am I getting professional information, and can I follow it with some courage and some clarity? And then if you see something change, you realize, oh, I did that. I made a change and I improved myself. And that's how I keep going. I mean, I've been working on my own health, like I say, since the 70s. And sometimes it's been a very difficult challenge, but I know there's all kinds of information and people and professionals out there that can give me a new insight. Like, well, I haven't tried that. That's really interesting. And let me do some research on this. And, oh, wow, there is some research on this. And so there you go. It's courage and hope, but also placing your trust in professional information and staying off of the quick tip, make a buck, YouTube, whatever.
That's truly inspiring, I would say, like what you said. And your approach really, shows that how mindset and perspective can be just as important as the treatments themselves. And maintaining optimism and curiosity, even through long term challenges, clearly not only supports your own resilience, but also, empowers those you are guiding along the healing journey.
Yes, I encourage people, realize, look, you're in charge, and I'm going to help tell you, nope, that piece right there, no, that piece doesn't work. Did you see what happened when you did that? And, so I'm trying to get as much information and empowerment to people as I can, as quickly as possible, so that they know that they're in charge.
Oh, that level of honesty and persistence, like which you are, which I've understood, really makes healing feel human and not, perfect, but possible. Yes. Now, in today's world of endless health trends, how can people tell what genuinely works for them?
So again, I try to encourage people that, this is not about trends and tips. This is about finding good medically reviewed research, and understanding that, here's an example, is fasting, intermittent fasting. So it became popular about 10, 15 years ago. And if that information came about from young male athletes trying to, shave 2 seconds off their time or something. That's where intermittent fasting came from, was for young male athletes. But when social media gets a hold of it, it becomes yet another excuse for tired, unwell women to starve themselves. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And so I don't encourage at all fasting and intermittent fasting in clients, unless they have to for religious reasons. But even then, obviously being as smart about it as possible, we're not of service to anybody if we're not well. But so there's a perfect example that it's a big trend. There's a lot of books. It's gone on for years and years and years, but people have lost track of the fact that it came about as a result of young male athletes. Nothing to do with women in their 40s or pregnant women or teenagers. It just wasn't their thing. But that's how it all got picked up.
And that makes sense. So, can you share one red flag that tells you someone's following advice that may, not serve their biology?
Oh, well, when I have pretty extensive forms that people send me, and so I want to get to know people really quickly and as well as one possibly can, and so I'm always looking for things they say in their form, like, well, this is a genetic problem, or I find that if I just don't eat for a week, that the headache goes away, or it's like, no, wait a minute, whoa, that's not a genetic problem. That's something else. I mean, yes, there are genetic problems, but it's everything is a potential red flag. Somebody that's just, what can I say? I mean, that's what good health intake forms are all about, is looking for places where I can draw circles and red lines and say, okay, we need to address this. One, for example, I've worked with a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and so one of the questions I have on their intake form is, do you have mercury fillings in your mouth, the silver ones? And if so, how many and how old are they? And do you have root canals? And so mercury fillings are not a good idea. And I just had a client, I just talked to her earlier this week. She had 13 fillings that she replaced, and because of my insistence on that. So, and she's in her 70s. So, that's a big red flag. That's a large, dangerous toxin that needed to be addressed, in my opinion.
Oh, that's really an important reminder. Like, according to me, wellness isn't one size fits all. It's an ongoing dialogue, with our own body. So, uh, if someone's just starting to seek answers or feeling overwhelmed or unwell, where should they begin?
Well, again, I'm absolutely taking people towards food and sleep, and food includes what they drink, and that you can't ask your body to reverse a trend that it's on, or an illness or a difficulty or a dysfunction that it has, if you don't give the body tools. It's like, take a Ferrari race car and you want it to go and win a race, but it has bad tires and no gas. I mean, you can't ask your body to perform and deliver and change if you're not giving it very focused work on high quality food. And I teach people proteins, fats, and cooked vegetables, and I'm very big on that. That's what we ate as hunters and gatherers. We ate proteins, fats, and weeds and vegetables and things that we would gather. We don't eat a lot of fruit, of course. We didn't eat sugar. We didn't have canola oil, food colorings, and we also didn't eat grains. So humans did not evolve eating grains like wheat and rice and corn. Those are the seeds of grass, and humans don't bend over and graze on grass. So, there's a lot devoted to that on my website too, but that's basically what we call paleo, the paleo diet, which I was teaching before it had a name, paleo. So when the first two books came out on that, I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I've been teaching. I call it the diet for human beings. That's what's on my website. But now the paleo term or primal diet, they're slightly different. But anyway, that's, again, you've got to go to a good source, not just somebody doing a 5-minute YouTube on it or something and telling you to eat raw meat or something. That it's just, that's a red flag for you. But you pay attention when people are telling you things that just don't seem correct.
That's really a thoughtful approach, Beverly. And I really appreciate how you break things down into a starting point that feels achievable, especially for someone, who's feeling overwhelmed. And it's really encouraging to hear that even taking the very first step can set the stage for meaningful progress and clarity.
Well, and I'll give you an example. I had a new client recently, and actually she was a friend and a professional in another domain that I work with. And she stepped up to me when we were working recently about a month ago and said, hey, I could really use your help with all these issues that she has going on with divorce and this and that. And I'm really overwhelmed and I'm not sleeping and I need help. I was so grateful that she stepped up to ask, because in our case, we were kind of in different professions, but we were both professionals. So, I don't go out and ask people, gee, you're not looking well lately. Why don't you let me work with you? So I don't do that. But anyway, she stepped forward and I took her forms and her intake and her diet and all this stuff and her labs. And I said, look, the bottom line is you need to eat and you need to sleep. Here's some herbs I want you to take for sleep. And when I say eat, I mean, I want you to stop all of this. Oh, I don't have time. I have to call the lawyer. I just grabbed some nuts. I'm like, no, you need to carve out time to eat at least 3, because she's lost weight and does not need to lose weight, at least 3 hearty meals a day, like beef stew and steamed vegetables and butter on everything and 2 strawberries and, small potato and, you need to eat and sleep. And, most people just, especially women, they just need permission that it's okay to eat. Women are so abused about, starving themselves. And anyway, that when I saw her again 2 weeks later, she said, okay, because this is really working for me. I'm so much calmer. I'm more able to think with lawyers and this and that because I am eating and I am sleeping. She said, who knew? So there's a perfect example that, we didn't give her stress management. We gave her basic nutrients and I said, I mean it. I want you to eat hearty, eat hearty, and then go sleep and take a nap and then get up and eat again.
Mhm. That's really remarkable, Beverly. So, can you share, what's the first small but meaningful change that can give them early hope?
A small, meaningful change that'll give you hope. Well, the first thing is well, everything I said, but hope and courage are, I have several mottos. Help yourself to health is one of them. That help yourself to health is one, but hope and courage is one. My podcast motto, my Primal Diet Modern Health podcast, its motto is food first. So, again, people get lost in oh, I have this obscure problem with something, and it's, blah blah blah. And it's like people they just get off and they get lost in these obscure problems, mental, physical, emotional. And I'm like, wait, let's get back to the basics as a starting place. Forget about some, weird, rare disease. Let's just get started on what you had for breakfast that's going to fuel your brain and your body. And I don't mean to just keep repeating the same thing, but I just really encourage people. I get emails from people every day all over the world, and so I can pick who I want to work with. And I, sometimes I'll say, look, I can see you really focus on such and such, and really committed to doing whatever, the hypnosis or the fasting or the whatever it is that you're doing. But I would really encourage you to take a look at getting grounded in a better, or in my opinion, a better way, and then rethink and use the help of professionals. Don't make up stuff and get off on social media trends.
Mhm. That's a really practical and relatable approach, Beverly. And I really admire that how you bring the focus back to something tangible and immediate like breakfast, to help people take that first step. And it's really inspiring to see how you turn what can feel overwhelming into an actionable, encouraging starting point. That's beautifully said.
Well, yeah, and as far as sleep, I mean, I don't usually recommend supplements for clients until they have demonstrated that they're willing to take their life and their diet and their things in hand. Like, for example, I had a woman that came for fatigue. I'm so tired. Fatigue. But when we got through the forms, I'm like, wait, you're, what exercise do you do? And she answers, I run 40 miles a week. Well, that does not compute. A person that's really, really tired, and this is what she said 4 times on her form, should not be running 40 miles a week, right? That makes no sense. I said, I don't want you running. I want you eating and sleeping. I said, you need to stop expending that energy. Sure, go for a walk and do some stretches and some squats, and, carry in your groceries and go up and down 4 flights of stairs. That's fine. But you're spending energy you don't have. And how do you want me to give you more energy if you're spending more than you have in the first place? And then in her case, well, there's a particular product that I do recommend to people if their sleep issue is a dominant focus of why they've contacted me. They can't sleep, they're anxious and wired and tired and they can't function. Then I'll start out with, yeah, okay, here's your diet changes, here's your work, but I want you to get this supplement from my online store. Don't get it on an online retailer other than me, because you can't trust people. But get this pharma GABA from my online store and take one of those before bed. And if you need it, take 1.5, or if you're a big person, take 2, and you will sleep. And it's actually good for your brain. So sometimes I do use supplements right off the bat when it's something urgent like that. But someone with arthritis pain or migraines or PMS, no, I refuse to just start selling pills to people. That goes against everything I know and want to teach, that you do not start with pills. They're called supplements for a reason. Supplement, by definition, is a supplement. It's an addition. So, when you think that you're just going to go take a bunch of pills and that's going to fix things while you don't eat and run 40 miles and don't sleep and, this and that, I'm like, no, that's not the way to do it. And I'm not your person. I'm not going to sell you those pills. I'm not here to take your money.
That's a really inspiring journey with you, Beverly. You reminded us that true wellness is not found in quick fixes, it's in curiosity, commitment, and courage. So, listeners, if you're tired of searching for the perfect plan, start with your plate, your pillow, and your patience. Because healing, as Beverly shows us, is not just a goal, it's a lifestyle. Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep moving toward your own horizon of health.
Thank you. And meanwhile, people can go to On Diet and Health and take a look at what's there and learn a lot of these things that come from my own experience and the clinical. I've been in practice 36 years. So there's a lot of good data there. Thank you very much for having me.
You're warmly welcome and take care.